Hello and welcome back to Misery Loves Mandy. This week, my friend Henry Sir is back on the podcast. It's been a while since he's been on. He lived in LA for a couple years. He's originally from Canada, was in New York, now is back in New York, just got passed at the Comedy Cellar. He just did JFL, Comedy Central. He's so funny. I hope you enjoy him. We talk all about from grief to your card getting declined as a young boy on a first date. So we're all over the place. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like and subscribe, share with a friend, and check out our Patreon, where we talk about some very relatable sex stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy. We're doing it.
These sound so crisp.
Thanks.
Of course.
It makes it feel better. Like, we're not in like somebody's house right now.
Oh, totally. This feels very professional.
Yeah.
You've done it. You've made it.
Tell that to my bank account.
I will.
Is that a new tattoo, the Halloween one?
All three of these are new.
Is it, I said the Halloween one, which is like.
It's and every time people that they'll ask and then they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You don't have to be sorry." It's my brother that passed away was really covered in tattoos, and so this portion of my arm is all. I had a few before, but this portion of my arm is like all. This he had a little record label called Manatees and Jack-o'-lanterns. He had an obsession with pumpkins and manatees, so I got a manatee with a guitar with his name in writing, and he had a pirate brand tattoo, so I got that on its little fin. And then this is a pumpkin. He had Oodalolly tattooed on his knuckles, so I got the same guy in the same font to do Oodalolly. And then I got an anchor. He has a song called Anchors, and he had an anchor tattoo too.
Nice.
Yeah, so kind of going down the tattoo rabbit hole right now.
Yeah.
Do
you have any planned?
No. I'm gonna get more, but I also know how I get, and I think in general people struggle with that with tattoos. You just kind of like, I'll get everything that comes to mind. So I have some ideas, but I've gotten 3 since May, and so I want to like just make sure it doesn't become like not putting enough thought into them. I want them all to be special, so I'll keep getting some probably, but not in a rush to either.
I think a whole sleeve will look sick if you're gonna do, or at least the half sleeve.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get like a full-on sleeve. I don't know if I'll like get them all like connected, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Like I didn't think I was gonna get any more tattoos. And then I got this one, and then I was like, nah, that's it. And then I got the other one. I was like, let's just keep going. Do you have any tattoos?
No. My mom keeps wanting to get matching tattoos, like mom and daughter, me, my mom, and my brother. Yeah, I'd like that. But I also like can't think of anything. And when you think of like family tattoos or Google anything, they're all like the most basic, like infinity symbols or like a triangle, like all the same thing.
Totally.
And I don't know. I just wish there was something I liked. I've tried many times to find something and be like, all right, Mom, I figured it out.
Right.
And there's nothing I want.
No, that's, definitely don't get it if you don't want it. I got one tattoo where, and I've gone back to the guy who did it, but like I didn't want it, but I'm such a pushover. Like,
oh no!
I gave him. I had an idea, and it's not that he did a bad job or anything. I'm just so afraid of saying no to people, and so he sent me back a sketch, and it just wasn't what I wanted. And I was like upfront, and I was like, yeah, that's not really what I'm thinking. Could we maybe go back to the drawing board? And then I was in the area, and he had a new one, and I was like, well, I'll just come up and I'll see it. And he showed it to me, and I was like, nice. And he's like, do you want it? And I was like, yes. And then on the drive back, I was like, what did you do?
Oh my God, the most permanent thing in the world.
Idiot. And it just caused me so much anxiety, and I was just freaking out. And I was like, but it's all fine now. Like I genuinely don't care. But at the time, it was a good reminder to like, it's okay to not get something permanently drawn on you if you don't want it to.
Now you have this tattoo as a reminder to speak up when you don't want to do something.
Yeah, I mean the first few tattoos I got were supposed to be like reminders, to, like just all these like very like, you know, stay grounded, zen kind of shit. But now it just reminds me like you're a fucking lunatic.
I always wanted to get, this is one I always wanted, but also it's too many people have it and it feels too basic. But one I did want was one of those little badass swords. Am I saying the W too hard? Sword or sword? Sword.
You can't be like sword.
I have a sword
I have
collection.
a sword. Yeah, I have a sword. You sound like a Long Island guy. Sword. Definitely sword. Yeah, you said sword, right?
I feel like I said it weird. But like one of those cute little swords.
Yeah.
Because it reminds you to like, stand up for yourself.
On guard.
On God.
On guard with life.
Yeah.
No, I think that's nice.
Too many people have it.
That's the thing. It's the tough thing of wanting to get something not everybody else has. And also like not having a tattoo is more unique and original than having a tattoo at this point.
I guess that's true.
Oh, it's and I really don't care because I am at a point now where like I'm not doing it to be different. It's like you get a few and it just like mentally there's like a shift of viewing them in a different way where it's not like performative or anything like that. It's just I used to roll my eyes a lot and people like your body's a canvas, and I still don't see that, but it is a little bit more like it tells your story a little bit. And whatever, but you also see these like 16-year-olds with sleeves and face tattoos. Like, I wish I didn't get any ever.
Yeah, at least you're getting them when you're older. And it's funny, so that it makes people sad when you say that, because my best friend Laura, she got a tattoo, her first tattoo right there of like a fish and the coordinates of like her friend that died.
Oh wow.
And she wishes she didn't get it. Really? Because it wasn't a brother. It was a friend that I didn't even know, and that's my best friend. So, sorry, Laura. I don't know how close they were. Like, in my eyes, not tattoo worthy. Yeah. So now every time someone asks about her tattoo, she has to talk about her dead friend.
Yeah, some guy I knew.
Some guy. A brother would be like a sweet thing. Oh, I like that you're bringing it up.
Yeah, for me, I obviously felt really good about, or didn't feel any regret over any of those, because that's my brother and he's a part of me, and it's like a lot of what I'm trying to do in life now is kind of honor him, and I'm not trying to take over for him or replace him or something, but he loved tattoos and I loved my brother, and I don't know, it just feels like a good way to honor him and remember him. And it's not like I got him specifically here because I play guitar a lot and he played guitar a lot, and that's something we really bonded over. So every time I play guitar, I can't help but look and think of him. So that was intentional, and that I feel good about. I just don't want to jump the shark too hard, and then all of a sudden I'm just sleeved up. I don't know if that's really in the cards. Maybe though, who knows?
I think it would look cool. You're halfway there.
We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
It's funny you said the thing about like not speaking up, because last night, which we were talking about doing dry January, and then Matt and I got obsessed with non-alcoholic beers, which I feel like that's like such like a cheat code. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
But so last night I asked for the non-alcoholic Heineken. Mm-hmm. And I thought for a second that the bartender, shout out to Brian at the Improv, I thought that he handed me, or in my head, I was like, what if he handed me a non-alcoholic?
An alcoholic.
An alcoholic? Is that what they call
an alcoholic
them?
Beer. Can I have an alcoholic beer?
I thought that he handed me one of those ones with alcohol. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to drink it and just ruin my dry January streak because I can't tell him he handed me the wrong beer.
I mean, you absolutely could.
That's what I'm saying is what you did at the tattoo.
No, I know. I would do the same. I could be like 10 years sober, and if someone gave me like a beer and a whiskey that I didn't ask for, I'd be like, well, I better drink it so I don't inconvenience them. Yeah, no, I hear you. It's amazing how difficult it is to stand up for yourself in a completely inoffensive way. Like, no reasonable person would be like, can you believe Mandy trying to take care of herself?
How dare she?
What a piece of shit.
We had to give that beer to someone else who really wanted it.
Fucking Mandy. Jesus Christ. I can swear, right? You don't care.
No, you can fuck, shit, cunt. They've all been said.
Well, I'll be saying them all again.
Oh, whoa. So Matt and I've been laughing at the non-alcoholic beers. Like, they're tricking our brains. They're making me think I'm drinking. I got on stage last night and I was like, I'm a little buzzed.
Fucked up.
I shouldn't be up here right now.
No, I know. So Heineken Zeros especially. I feel like the majority of the non-alcoholic ones I've had are. It's like it's a non-alcoholic beer, but it doesn't taste like a beer. It's very watered down. Whereas Heineken and the Corona one too is actually they're almost like you could mistake it for the alcoholic version. I know what you mean though. I'd pick up when I wasn't drinking for a while. I'd pick up a sixer of Heineken Zero and just be like pounding them back, watching the game. Like, God, I'm a man.
I know. I've been every Sunday watching football. I've been drinking my non-alcoholic beer.
But I don't feel bad about it. It's like less than 100 calories. You don't feel like garbage. They're delightful. I really like Heineken Zeros, even if I am like drinking. Not like I'll be drinking during the night and be like, give me a Heineken Zero, but like. If I am drinking beers, I'll gladly drink Heineken Zeros instead.
Yeah, it made me realize, like, first of all, this is why kids get so fucked up when you're younger. Why I blacked out in high school and college every time I drank.
Yeah.
Is what I'm realizing with the non-alcoholic beers is, and I knew this, but like it's like people with vape pens. They want something to their mouth. I always like need something just to sip.
Yeah.
And even like if you feel good, you still get another drink because you just want something to sip.
That's one of the many, many, many problems with drinking for me, at least. Though, is like that constant need to have something in your hand and to be sipping on it. And when you're finally feeling good, got the good level of buzz, it's like, well, I have to keep drinking. And then too later, I just feel like hot trash. And the next day's terrible. I'm like, that wasn't nearly fun enough to be worth it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have an obnoxious amount of non-alcoholic. Like, man, you had 7 non-alcoholic beers. Like, yeah, I crushed a whole 12er, bud.
I'm like, maybe when I start drinking again, I will maybe try the switch. But I just like, then it's like, do I really want to spend? At home, it's one thing. Yeah. But then spending, it's the same price for a non-alcoholic beer as a regular beer.
It's terrible.
That's
it's terrible.
The thing.
And drinking sucks. Like, I like having, like, I don't know if it's just the Canadian thing, but like, I really like beer. And especially living in New York now, they have so many awesome pubs.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're just so cozy and you just want to go in and have a pint of Guinness or whatever. And that's fine. Like if I have like 3 drinks or something, cool. But then it gets like, I don't really get drunk anymore. But when I do, I'm just like, this sucks. Like I don't even have the illusion I'm cool or fun. This sucks. And last time I did, like I was riding home on the subway and then I just went out and I was like trying to be coy and just like, you guys go ahead. Everyone walks by and I'm just vomiting.
No.
Yes. And I'm yeah, it's disgusting. There's nothing good about it.
Oh, man.
Did you start drinking in high school?
Oh, yeah.
Earlier?
15, keggers.
15. Wow.
Like Screamo band concerts. It was the time of my life.
Sure. I didn't drink. The first time I got drunk was my grade 12 or 12th grade, whatever you say in the States. My grad. That was the first time I got drunk. And I was probably mildly tipsy, but I was just like, having the time of my life too. And then we like, that's the difference between being in Canada, I think, is like you can start going to the bar when you're 18. And so by the time we're like 21, 22, we're already like, I'm past that phase of my life.
I wonder if, since you only have to be 18 to go to a bar, does that make people wait for 18 versus...
Some, I think, like I knew... It feels like just as many people that would wait as just as many people that had fake IDs and like and bad ones. I'm 15, like a dude with a different ethnicity going into the bar in their car. It's terrible.
I went to a bar once on my fake ID's birthday.
Wow.
And it was someone else's photo that didn't look like me.
Anything like you?
It was just a white girl. So it's like...
All look the same to me.
Yeah.
Did you get in?
Yeah, but he knew it wasn't me, and
he
like
doesn't care.
Well, he like made me feel uncomfortable, and then let me in.
Doing a hell of a job. Good job, bouncer.
He really showed me.
Good job.
Hey, never forgot it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Scarred
you're
me
still
enough.
talking about the guy that made you feel bad, but still illegally let you in. Good job. Good job.
I hope he still works there at Trees Wings. If anyone lives in South Florida. So since you've last gone on, we haven't talked about, you did JFL last.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was it was cool. I did the Canadian New Faces, which was cool. I was like there is that party that can't help be like, that would have been cool to do the American one, but I get it as a Canadian. why I did that, but it was really cool. I really like all the comics that did it, and I from what I understand, it was normally the Canadian new faces. It just means so much less to the like American industry
Really?
and stuff. Oh yeah, but Steph Tolev, I wasn't there for it, but she had like her like kind of state of the industry address or whatever, and from what I understand, she like. Not like she was cussing them out, but like kind of laced into them a little bit. And it was really cool because she just said, as a Canadian herself, it's so messed up that she had to go to the States, like blow up, and then get like the Canadian industry and industry here's like approval. So she was just like, so find the good comics now. Like, that's ridiculous. Shouldn't have to be that way. And then our New Faces was packed, and I had people texting me that are like industry in Canada or whatever, saying like, this is the most full it's ever been. So it was actually really, really cool. And it was really sweet. Like the guy who hosted it, his name's Mark Forward, and he's so funny. He's a dude in Toronto, but he brought everybody back out, and we got it was cute. We got like a standing ovation from the theater and stuff. So it was very Canadian and very cute, but it was a fun experience for sure.
Is it the same location, like same stage and same weekend?
Yep. Same theater. They just like everybody in Canada knows like it's always kind of like the Americans are the ones that matter. So just remember that.
Was your audience good though?
They're great.
Because I was told by many comics that they had a rough audience this year.
Ours was awesome. It was
there's
really
a positive.
Cool. No, it was a great experience. Like I loved it, and it was fun. Like I went up first, which
that's good.
It is, yeah. And the booker said he was like, that's like a badge of honor kind of thing, and it was a great experience. I was so. It was very wholesome and kind of cute. And it's a strange thing though. And I talked to other comics who did New Faces where it's a mind F for sure, because you're so excited and grateful to be doing it. But it's also just like, it's like those tech conventions in Vegas, those things that look like where it's just networking. Because that's what it is there too, except with comedy. And you're going to these parties and these after parties, and you kind of just want to like, well, at least I do, like you just want to talk with people like a human being, but you're also like, all right, well, this person's here and that person's there. But then you just start getting in your head of like, this isn't even fun because I'm just stressed. Like, am I talking to the right people? Am I networking? Why are they talking to me? And just like so many things in life and comedy, the joy just gets stripped from it.
Oh, so quickly.
Oh my God. So quickly. But all that said, it was, the first night was great. Then we did like the encore, which was scheduled before tickets were even sold.
Oh no.
No, it was great. That was for everybody. But you do like the theater, and then they have this other venue that's like a converted church, and it's just beautiful. And that one's like, I think for everyone, like a bit like, let's just get through this because we're all tired, whether you drink or not. You're up to like 6 a.m. the night before. And the first one was great, and the second one was good too. But a thing, not to keep talking about my brother. Well, I don't care. I'll keep talking about him.
Talk about him.
He was a musician, and he released or like this new music right before he passed. He and his band recorded, and one of the songs especially is something I'd like listen to before some like especially big sets to like psych myself up and be like, be present and be there for like do it for Ben kind of thing. But this was the first time. I was listening to it in the second night, about to go on, and I was just like, oh no, and just almost started like bawling my eyes out. So I just had to like run away and stand in the stairs, like, and then go up and do what's going on with this. And but it was, anyways, that's rambling. But it was really cool. It was really cool and a fun time. And Montreal's just such a beautiful city, and a lot of good people were there, so it was awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, thanks.
I was telling a few of my friends, because, you know, Chappelle's lost his brothers. My friend Holly and then my friend Lisa have both gone through losses. And I told them, and you should so join them. I don't know if it's weird, but I was just thinking, I was like, all these people are telling me these things and how hard it is to get back into comedy after a loss.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys should all meet up and talk about it.
Totally.
Because that's like, not many people can relate to that.
Yeah.
And that seems like one of the hardest things. I mean, if I go watch the news and something bad happens or hear like, oh, a mass shooting, you know how many times I'm like, I plan out a writing full day. I've planned this out all week. Then a mass shooting happens that day. Yeah. And I'm like, it's the first thing I hear. I'm like, how am I supposed to spend the day writing jokes?
Totally. How am I supposed to go try and make light of things or just try and, when there's so much awful stuff going on in the world, and it's so hard to wrap your head around. Like, so I'm going to go talk about cocks on stage. Yeah, no, for sure. When Ben passed, I was very much like, well, I guess I'm done. Like, I'm not going to do this anymore because this is the stupidest shit in the world. And it was I've said this before, but I found out about his passing the day before my Comedy Central taping. And obviously what's more important is what happened to him. Like, that's the real tragedy in it. But I was also just like, well, fuck, I can't do it. Like, I'm not doing it. My family was very like, you got it. He'd want you to. And he would, and I did, but it was a bummer. It just, obviously, but then also I was a zombie through that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That set. And then the next set I did was the Just for Laughs showcase. And I was just like, this is so stupid. But
I didn't know that it was right. Those two. I think you might have told me the Comedy Central one, but I didn't realize that also the Just for Laughs was right after that.
It was those were the only two sets. It was crazy because I did the Comedy Central thing and I got through it and I was like, wow, I'm like invincible. I am emotionally indestructible. And then the next day, and I had been booked on this other show that was the following day. And my initial thought was like, well, I'll get through this, take a break, go back to Edmonton, reevaluate, see what's what. But then I was like, I mean, why not? I might as well keep my mind occupied and I'll go do this show. And then driving over there, that's when like, I had already obviously cried a few times, but that's when like, I kind of went into survival mode. So that's when it really came pouring out. And I had to like, I was like wailing, crying. And then I didn't want to be rude. So I finished driving and I went inside just like, I can't do it. And they're like, yeah, go home, you lunatic. But no, that was challenging. Like it was really hard to wrap your head around, like caring enough about this thing like nothing felt important. So let alone, stand up it's just confusing because on one hand it's still like the most important thing in the world to me, but also is like I already know how ridiculous this is and looking at it a little bit more negatively, and it wasn't good. Like I to do it just to get through, like I started getting like I'd have to take like edibles before every set just to get through, and then it became a crutch where I was like, well, guess I can only do like I just recently within the last few weeks stopped doing that. But anyways, yeah, sorry, I keep rambling. But it was definitely a challenge to be psyched about doing anything, let alone going to a show and watching a bunch of people ask everybody what city they're from and what they do for work. You know?
Oh, I couldn't even imagine. Like, performing's one thing, but at least it's like a sense of acting. You can turn it on.
Yeah.
But networking, fuck.
Oh my
Things that
God.
is just gross sometimes, and like,
yeah, totally. That was a huge struggle because even before then, like I've never liked that stuff or felt any sense of confidence with that stuff, but now I'm looking at it through a different lens of like, yeah, sure, I don't like it and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I also am like, I like disagree with this, and I know it's necessary and whatever, but I just feel grimy. And yeah, people can be so shitty of like, some people would like ask me like, what's wrong, bro? Like, what's your problem?
No.
It's like, I'm depressed and my brother died, you fuck. Like, what do you think?
oh God, I would love
people
to
suck.
say that to someone and just see their face and they're like, ugh.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe how many people kind of ask that sort of. People are so stupid, but and we don't deal with grief as a whole and as a society well at all. We're very afraid of it and afraid to talk about it, and it's uncomfortable. And I guess I get it, but people are morons.
I just never know like the right thing to say because there isn't anything to say. Like, sorry for your loss just feels weak. And then there's no words for it, so I always panic on what to say to somebody.
I think just saying, like, for me at least, I can't speak for everyone of what they prefer, but for me, like, I do appreciate it when someone just says, like, I'm sorry for your loss. Just showing that they're, like, are thinking of my brother. That's nice. And a lot of people that would reach out and, like, share a personal story of this is something that happened between Ben and I really appreciated that. What's bad is when you start giving unsolicited advice. I won't name the name, but there's this one LA comic who everyone I've spoken to, when that name gets brought up, is like, oh, that guy sucks.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And he gave me like, just like, honestly, there's no hyperbole. I'm not saying this to be like a tough guy, but I ran into him and he like, you know, it's a weird thing where like, you don't necessarily want to open up to everybody. But when someone asks you like, how's it going? I'm like, well, I just didn't have it in me to lie. I'm not going to be like, good, because I'm not. I'm terrible. And I was like, not very good. He's like, what's up? And I just told him a little bit, and he just goes into this, like, everything happens for a reason. Like, one day,
No,
Oh, yeah.
that's got to be one of the worst things you can say about death.
Truly, like like my hand was in my pocket and I felt it and it was like clenched into a fist, and like my mind was like telling like, you got to get out of here, you're gonna hit him in the head, because he just kept
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. One day you're gonna be so grateful for all the lessons you've learned from this, and it's just like,
my
you are the
God.
most selfish taint. That's not why this people don't. Tragedy doesn't befall people so you can learn a lesson, you fucking narcissist.
No.
I hate when people say, a lyric in one of Ben's songs is about, he hated that whole everything happens for a reason too. If you honestly think
that's
that,
so funny.
yeah, it's a good line. Nothing happens for a reason. Oh heavens no, we put reason to what happened. It's a good lyric, and I think
nothing happens for a reason. Good tattoo.
Yeah. And it's just like when people think they're deep, or they actually like, I believe everything happens for a reason. It's like, A, you don't. B, if you do think that, you're a fucking selfish moron.
That's something to say to somebody after a breakup.
Yeah, and even then, it's like, well, yeah, I know everything happens for a reason. Like, I had to take a shit because I smashed 3 burritos. Yes, I know. Yes, there is like cause and effect.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like shit doesn't happen. Like marginalized people don't experience tragedy in life, so yeah, you can remember to YOLO and be in the moment. Like that's so. Oh, that shit drives me nuts.
Oh, that's a bad one.
It's so selfish and self-centered, but it's and it honestly wasn't that many people, and it also is the people that do it. You're like, of course, that's the guy that would say it.
Well, those people aren't listening to what you're saying.
No.
They have that pact. It's just like what they would have said if you said just a bad day in general or anything.
Totally. No, exactly. It's just so surface level, shallow, disingenuous, and the fact that they pass it off as like this is some kind of thoughtful wisdom.
Yeah.
They're just. I know I sound like I'm saying like everybody sucks. I don't think everybody sucks.
You're not saying that.
I think a lot of people
ass.
suck. He sucks, but. Dude sucks, but.
Well, that person is like, I wouldn't even say that they're a wiener, because that's something that should bugs you more than it should have. He's just a bad person.
Yeah, he sucks. I'd say he's a wiener too, but in addition to being a wiener, he's just a bad wiener.
Yeah. Very, very bad. And then the last thing, good thing that happened, you got passed to the Comedy Cellar. Mm-hmm. Not the last good thing that happened to you. The last thing that I know of.
Yeah, that's about all.
That could be your memoir. The last good thing that happened to me.
That happened to me. That was a long time ago. Yeah, no, it's great. It's fun. It's a strange time. Just that like. Not that it's anything astronomical, because it's very eye-opening of you can do these things and check these boxes you want to check. And truly, there's like zero bitterness in what I'm saying or delusion. I didn't think it was like life's about to be a whole lot different now. Like I know it really comes down to like, clips and numbers and whatnot. So it's a strange time that on one hand, that's also I just have to be self-deprecating, and like I don't want it to sound like I'm doing too well because I'm a piece of shit. But
you wouldn't be a real comedian if you weren't self-deprecating.
But things in a comedic sense have been really, really good. But it's been a strange balance that on a personal sense, it's at times tough to process the like appreciation and gratitude and all that good stuff for it while grieving and trying to just figure out life and what's important in it. And so there definitely is that little dichotomy there, but just focusing on stand-up, it's very, very fun. And doing stand-up in New York has been really, really enjoyable.
It's great.
Yeah.
Is the Comedy Cellar, because I really don't know New York at all. We just did last year the New York Comedy Cellar, which isn't like a
The
New
Comedy
York
Festival? Or City Winery?
City Winery.
Right.
Which I think isn't like a New York spot. It's like probably a new type of
Yeah, I don't really
venue.
know. I haven't been there long enough to be like, or totally got my finger on the pulse of everything. They do a lot of shows there, but I think it's like a venue, not necessarily just a comedy venue.
Exactly. It was a really nice venue, but
it's great.
Didn't feel like we were like in New York. Right.
Yeah, it's strange over there, and they got that weird little like island kind of thing. Did you go to that?
No.
Oh, it's cool. It's like right by. It's
it
like
was
weird
raining that day.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. But yeah, it's great. They have a lot of venues that are just like comedy clubs, and then other venues that are more like multi-purpose, where they'll do a ton of shows of a bunch of things, but they're still great for comedy. And then all these weird little bars where from just a stand-up viewpoint, you're like going to the back room, it's like this was designed for stand-up. It's just the city is just very conducive for stand-up, so it's really fun to have the experience of just being there. And it's different for everyone. None of it has to be like shitting on LA or something. It's just for what I'm doing in stand-up, it just feels like a necessary part of the whole experience and journey or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing that I've realized, which I should have, it's common sense, but now more than ever is like the only way you're going to make it is by getting more stage time, because that's the only way to get better.
Totally. Yeah. And that's like the juice for me, is just getting better. And that was the thing I really wanted to focus on. And it's, I think a lot of people struggle with it, but again, I don't want to shit on LA. It's just the way this city has like brought out certain insecurities in certain ways. I wanted to block a lot of that extracurricular nonsense and noise and bullshit out. And there's bullshit everywhere, but there's just so much bullshit here. Whereas in New York, it is a bit easier to just be like, well, I'm just going to focus on the stand-up and whatever else comes, awesome. But the priority is just improving at stand-up. And I feel like I am improving. So that in and of itself makes me feel good about it all.
How long? You were in LA for like a year and a half, 2 years?
Like 2 years. And yeah, it was great. Like I'm really grateful for the experience. And I do think, like, who knows, but I could see there being a world where we, whenever the timeline is, like, ultimately come back here. Because, you know, it's nice to be out west and it's closer to family in Canada and stuff.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's way closer to get, or way easier to get to Edmonton from here than it is to New York, actually. But again, it's just like we feel like it's easier to be here longer than it would be in New York. So we wanted to capitalize on living there while we feel like we could, and it's a good setup. It's good. It's fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's all going to work out.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Then you could come back here and your wife can do her hikes again.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy the beach, all that good stuff, and deal with the networking lunatics.
Oh, God, you guys listening, they're awful. They're so awful.
And they're everywhere. They're goddamn everywhere. It's brutal.
It's like our version of zombies.
Totally. But people like networking like on the beach, or like trying to just, they're like pitching books to us.
And you see them coming. Like like, you could see them, their smile, their eyes.
This guy's a lunatic.
It's so clear, which is, I think, why we do stand up over anything else, because there's less of those people in the industry than any other.
I think so. And there's still plenty of, like,
I said less than.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
None.
Not none. But it is tons of wonderful, lovely people in the scene. But it is funny when you come back and pretty quickly you have enough of those exchanges where it's just this like, so what are you working on? What are you working on? Could I get involved? Could I get their number? Oh, God.
Oh man. God. What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do?
Well, did you think of any, I have one if you don't have one, or also I can say it, but like a dumb wiener, a dumb weekly wiener.
Sure. Yeah, I do. You go ahead if you have one too, though.
Mine's so stupid, especially after talking about someone passing away, and then this wiener. This is like the opposite sides of life. So this is something that really bugs me that shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I just hate it so much. I hate when I'm at the gym and somebody's dancing.
Oh, yeah.
I can't focus because of the rage and it's just like
it's very irritating.
They could be, so there's different. I've seen people like twerking on the stretch mat.
Jesus.
I've seen people just like in like the weightlifting area, just like dancing to whatever they're listening to.
Yeah.
Then I've seen like in like the workout room as it's glass, like the closed off room, people full on like dancing. I hate all versions of it.
Yeah, it's very irritating.
Even the ones that are where they're supposed to be in the room physically, like as a way of working out, dancing. I hate it.
Yeah, I find it very irritating too. I haven't seen a lot of it. I've seen when I lived here, the Y I would go to, there's this one lady who would take up a lot of space and in the mirror just be like going kind of buck. Dancing and would like, I think she'd do it to everyone, but like you kind of like would like look over and she'd like really lock eyes with you.
Oh. Locking eyes.
It just was very off-putting. I didn't, and it's like I am like, whatever. You're here. You're paying for your membership. Do whatever you want to do. But it's also like, man, do that shit at home. You don't need to go to the gym to dance. Give me a fucking break.
Oh yeah, and the guy twerking like full on like twerking on that mat.
That's annoying.
Oh.
That's annoying. I don't want to be like outdated or conservative or something. But it's like why do we have to look at that?
I don't want
work.
to. I don't want to
see
look at that.
A bouncing ass. Just trying to better myself here. That's annoying. I'm with you. That's wiener behavior.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely.
And then people think, I think the dancing bugs me more, but there's also like the same as like the people who sing in public. It's kind of the same kind of person.
Totally.
Because some of the dancing people also sing, and it's just like it's the people who sing out loud reminds me of people who laugh at a text because they want you to ask what's so funny.
Oh God.
Like they just want.
Yeah.
They're doing it for your response.
Totally.
They're singing so they think you hear them singing and think, wow.
Yeah, wow, what a talent.
Holy I wish I could sing like that.
Yeah, I should put this guy in touch with my buddy at the label or something. Like, I know it's I don't like when people just it's tough because there is that part of me that's just like, do whatever you want to do as long as you're not like objectively hurting anyone. I don't really care. But then there is the other part of me. It's like, well, have some respect for other people. Like, it's all the time on the subway. Like, people vaping in there. It's just like, man, grow up. Wait till you're outside. Or the people on hikes here in the subway when people, like, they can't put their headphones in, so they got to play their stupid speaker. And it's never a good song.
Never a good song.
It's always just, like, this shitty house music with no melody. Like, that's the song you felt... You have to objectify us too. I hate that shit. Yeah, I hear you.
So keep your dancing, your singing, any of your happiness bottled up and have fun at home.
Yeah, totally. Save it for yourself, man.
Jesus.
Nobody cares.
No, it's
Jesus.
rude. Some of us are having a bad day.
Yeah, I don't want to watch some idiot dancing.
So that's it. Yeah, that shit always bugs me.
Wiener behavior, for sure. Good call. Mine is... Yeah, it's kind of a two-sided wiener thing. I was doing a spot, and I just have this one bit that's like completely inoffensive. And if it's like a more older, mature crowd where I know there's going to be a lot of married couples, I'll be like, all right, well, I'm sure they'll, whatever. It's just like a safe, easy adults marriage relationship bit. And it's just about dinner parties, and it's like, why do we do them? They're so stressful, ha 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 ha, and they're not actually fun. And it's completely inoffensive, and the joke's going fine. And this guy is just like, everything you just said is wrong. And I was like, what?
He said that?
Yeah, and it was funny. And I was like, I'm not like offended. I'm just like, the crowd laughs, I laugh. I'm like, all right, man. Like, and I think like that's it. And he's like, no. It's just like, I don't get why. And he looks like sad. And he's just like, I just like, dinner parties can be fun, man. It's like, huh? And he's like, yeah, it's just like, they can be fun. You should do it better. And I was just like really taken aback. Like, are you actually offended that I like insulted dinner parties? And we had this weird back and forth. And he starts heckling me, and he's like, hey man, I was supposed to see Seinfeld tonight. So, and it's like, well, you didn't. And he was just such a wiener, and I don't use this word, but like he was just such a cuck. And then the two-sided wiener thing of it, because it's happening.
The double-sided wiener.
And I'm the other wiener, because like I'm just doing the most lazy crowd work of pretty much just like reiterating what he said back, of just being like, what, you're offended by dinner parties? And then the crowd's like, yeah, and starts clapping. And then it occurred to me, I was like, this is going to be a good clip.
Oh, yeah.
And then I felt like the wiener. And it was just a bunch of wieners talking to each other, but it really was just such a he was so like meek, and again, I don't care if I sound like a toxic male, but it was just like, dude, like, man up.
Yeah,
that's pathetic. Be an adult. Of everything to get offended by in the world, you're getting offended that some idiot on stage is talking about dinner parties. It was pathetic.
That is so funny. It's such a safe joke to piss somebody off about.
I listened back to it to be like, that couldn't have been as bad as I thought it was. And it was. And like I said, I felt like a wiener too, because it just became one of those exchanges where the crowd's like applauding you and stuff. And I'm like, oh God. Like the guy's acting like an idiot, and I say, you're an idiot. And the crowd's like, yeah, he's an idiot. And I just felt shitty about everything.
Did you end up clipping it?
I mean, I'm going to.
You have to.
I will. I have no choice. I owned a heckler, so I gotta put it out for the world to appreciate.
Make sure to put on the title: "Showed heckler who hates dinner party. What's
in capitals, up?" Henry Sir owns dinner party loving heckler. So stupid. But because I thought like, wow, that'll make a great clip, means no one will see it. That's how it works.
I hate that thought. I feel like now that the camera's always up,
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten out of my head of like of the camera curse, or like if it's gonna be a good clip as much as like before when you just randomly put up the camera, the pressure was just too much.
Totally. And also we've talked about the stress of social media and clips before, and I also now just genuinely don't care like if a clip does poorly. It's like that's not a reflection on me as a human being, or even honestly as a comic. And if a clip does really well, same thing. Like I'm not cool now. I'm still the wiener who's thinking about how I'm owning a heckler in the moment. Like either way, it matters, but it means nothing. And so putting like distancing yourself from it has actually gotten easier. I think like you said, I think it's just because there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything we do is a potential clip.
Oh man, I'll have conversations with people, and I'll be like, "Man, that would have been so good on the podcast."
I know. We should film ourselves. Repeat what you said, and I'll film it.
I'm like, damn,
I know,
stop that thought. This is called a good conversation.
I know. It's just being in the moment and enjoying a conversation, not thinking like I should make this a bit or I should clip this up. I know it's really a shame. I like I said, I've just accepted social media as what it is with stand up, and some people are lucky that they kind of have this like mystique around them where they don't have to post regularly, or they just don't post, but they kind of keep like amassing followers, and that's great. I'm just not one of those dudes, so I have to be proactive with it, and so that just is what it is. And I've tried to take a lot of the negative judgment out of it, but I can also call a spade and be like, yeah, it's super lame and it's really stupid, and I think it's a bad thing for society.
Well, you and my friend Julia both motivated me to do my clips because, like, there's the whole, like, you don't want to post all the time because, like I didn't want to show my jokes. I didn't think my jokes were good enough. Like, all of the reasons. And then, like, you posted every day. Your following blew up. My friend Julia posted all the time. And then hers did. And now, so I posted every day for, like, 6 months now. My eyeball just falls out.
I know.
But it helps posting all the time because it's the same with the camera up all the time. There's less pressure.
Totally.
It's just like, it's a numbers game. Yeah. Throw it up. If it works great, it does. If it doesn't.
Totally. You're in the same boat you were before. And also, it is hard. Like I post like, even still when I say it out loud, I just have this like I feel just like a teenage dork and not where I want to be in my mid 30s talking about like posting on an app for children. Like that's what it still feels that way to me, but it just is what it is. And try to be consistent with a few times a week. And I've had a few clips that go well and pick me up a good chunk of followers, and other ones that don't. And the ones that I've posted that have done really well, for the most part, I'm like, I don't find this even remotely funny.
Your Canadian one, right?
It's just so stupid. Like I just like do like a Canadian accent, and then I'll post a joke, which I'm like, this is a joke I really enjoy, and the clip looks good, and nothing. And then I'll just post like, "Oh, I'm from Canada, eh?" And it's like, yes, it's all nonsense, but it just is what it is, and it's part of the gig. And like any job, there's shit you have to do you don't want to, and that's fine. I just wish social media wasn't just so bad for us as a whole and for people. Like it's really a negative thing, and so it's tough. It's like you want to be the change you want to see, and it's like, yeah, but I can't because I'm not in a spot where if I just stop posting, like I can't. I have to, and that's kind of a bummer. But it's also like obviously way worse problems than no, I have to use this app I don't like.
I just really use it to post.
Yeah,
I look at stories and like the 5 that are there, and then I move on.
Yeah, totally. And also like it's just easier to like not worry about like, is it good enough, because it's just a sea of shit, and there's some really funny stuff. Like I'll someone generally like just because of what I want to consume, it's generally not stand up that I'm like, wow, what an amazing clip. But especially with stand up, like so much of it is just shit, and I contributed to it too. I'm not saying like what I'm doing is on some other level, but it's just a sea of sewage, and just like crazy like motion tracking, and just like the most confident, like, where you from, bro? And then the guy asks just the most basic question, the crowd member says something insane, and then the comic's like, what? And then everyone loses their mind.
That is the best. impression of crowd work I've ever
It's
seen.
it's every clip. It's insane. And I don't get how the crowds keep, like, you ask them the most general question, like, what do you do for work?
Yeah.
And it's like, how is that what your response was? Oh, it's insane. It's insane, and yeah, it's lame. But it's what it is. So
It is.
whatever. No point in losing any sleep over it.
No.
Yeah.
It does make me think though, like how you're saying, like in Canada versus like a solid joke.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if like, because you'll see a lot of comedians who make it ended up really diving into this style, look wise, joke wise. Like a fat comedian saying fat jokes, or a Latino comic saying Latino jokes.
Totally.
I don't know if fat and Latino is correct, but overweight and Latino seems correct.
I think Latino's fine. Latino and waste of space.
Latino and fat fuck.
Yeah, that's the technical term. Totally kidding.
Yeah. Asterisk. Just kidding. Don't cancel. But like, I wonder if like they all started out, and I've scrolled back on a few people's pages who are now doing well to see where they started, and they look like an average Joe.
Right.
And I think it's fine, and is what you have to do, which is very Hollywood, to where it's like you start off average Joe look.
Right.
And then you see what works, like you're saying your Canada stuff over your perfectly well-written jokes. Yeah. And at a certain point, I think like style-wise and then joke-wise, you give yourself a style to stand out, even if it's far away from who you are really as a person.
Totally.
And then your jokes, you're like, okay, well, maybe the easier jokes work more. Let's do that versus my well-written jokes. Yeah. And then these people make it.
Totally. 100%. That's a tough thing about it right now. If you're just kind of like, the main thing you love about it is just doing the stand-up, is that you don't have to, but you kind of sort of do have to factor that stuff in of, it's marketing, it's sales. Yeah. Like, that's cool if it's just average Joe wearing jeans and a tee telling a funny joke, but like, that's not really exciting. Whereas if you're wearing something kind of loud and you're doing something a little bit crazy, like you want to do something unique, you want to separate yourself, and it's lame, but it had occurred to me a few times. I'm like, all right, well, people seem to like it when I do the fake Canadian accent, but then I was like, I don't want to be that guy though. I don't want people to think like that's what this dude does. And I don't know, I do think about that stuff, and that's why I do kind of see myself like, I like the idea of it, at least. Doing it's a whole other thing, but like I really want to record another stand-up album that's like 45 minutes an hour, where it's just very like just basic stand-up. But I really do enjoy doing music stuff too, and I want to incorporate that a little bit more. So in that sense, I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I actually like the music stuff I do, and I think it's creative and it is kind of unique. So that can separate me a little bit, but I don't have to all of a sudden start wearing like leather pants and a fishnet bomber jacket or something like that, you know?
Fishnet bomber jacket.
Somebody
please.
in LA is wearing that right now. Right now, walking down the street in that fishnet bomber jacket. LA loves bomber jackets. It's unbelievable how many people have bomber jackets.
They really do.
It blows my mind. Like, right, that was something that when I moved from Canada, I was like, why does everybody have a bomber jacket? And they're all like neon green or some shit. It's just... And I don't need to go on bomber jackets. Just bomber jackets bother me so much. I don't know why.
I never knew what one was until I lived here.
Yeah, you found out real quick. It's like part of what you have to do to live here is have your bomber jacket on.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, the jacket scene here is wild.
I have so many jackets now.
Of course, you live in LA. You have to.
I have to. It's how I style myself.
Of course. I have a denim jacket. I don't like wearing jackets. I never have liked wearing jackets because when you come from a really cold place, the second it's like remotely even, like it could be like minus 10 degrees. And you're like, I'm not wearing a jacket. And then coming to LA, I'm looking around like, you pathetic weaklings, take your jacket off. But then now, like, out of principle, I'm like, I'm not wearing a jacket. It's so stupid. Just being a contrarian asshole.
Beanies and like mittens on at 70 degrees in LA.
Pathetic. That's pathetic. LA people are so soft. Like, it was lightly like if it's lightly drizzling and people, it's so soft here.
Yeah, the rain thing is pretty funny.
It's insane, and it softened me up when I lived here. Like, I'm from like the harsh. Like last week in Edmonton, no word of a lie, or 2 weeks ago, it was minus 50, like one of the coldest places on the planet. So that's where I'm from. And so like, but you get used to it here, and I became so soft. It would be mildly cold, and I'd just be freezing my ass off. So it softens you up here. I get it.
-50?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what was that saying, that phrase you just said? I've never heard it. No word to a lie. What did you say?
No word of a lie?
No word of a lie.
Did I say that?
I've never heard that.
Never heard no word of a lie?
No.
Is that a Canadian thing?
I don't know.
Because Americans are so full of shit and always lying. That's
No
honest
word
Canadian.
of a lie means
no word of a lie. No word of a lie. This happened.
Is it like, I swear to God?
Yeah.
Is that what it means?
Yeah. There's no word used in what I'm about to say is deceit. It's all truthful.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a quality saying.
I was just like, what the hell did he just say?
No word of a lie, baby. -50.
I felt like you were reading a line out of the Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, I live in America. I regularly do celebrate the amendments.
So wait, on your album, are you gonna do music?
No, I mean, what I like the idea of is just it being like pure stand up, and then after that, like still just doing pure stand up, but incorporating more like bits with my guitar, and then like multi-track things. Like I did that on my first album, which isn't like great or anything, but like the things I really like doing. I like doing weird shit. Like I really like doing just basic, premise, setup, punchline stuff. I really like doing that, but I like doing weird shit too. Like the two parts of my album I like the most is like the intro. I had like this pre-recorded voiceover of my inner monologue, and I just like timed it so like I thought like this will probably get a laugh, and so pause this much. But it was like my inner monologue. When I came out, I didn't say a word for like 3 minutes. I just stood there while everybody could hear what's going on in my mind, and I was just like this really arrogant asshole pretending to be this nice guy. And then at the end, I did like I recorded a rap song, and I make it out like it's the sound guy's playing it by mistake, and I'm getting really upset of like, what are you doing? And then I just like join in with it and do it. And I really like doing stupid shit like that. But then I kind of felt like this, like, oh no, you're like, that's hacky.
No, it's not hacky.
No, it's not. And also that's another thing. Like at one time, it just like was burned into me of like I was gonna take a guitar on stage, and these guys like they were kind of joking, but you could tell they meant it. Like, oh, so you're a hack. And I was like, oh no. But then again, it's like you look at stand-up now, like that's what stand-up is. You got guys making good money because they hump stools and because they ask people what they do for work, and then regardless of what they say, be like, that's dumb. And so it's like, I'm not about to feel like a hack because in my own little insignificant way, I'm like, well, I thought up this thing that I find creative and unique. So I'm not about to feel like a hack when, again, the sea of sewage that is clips and social media is some of the hackiest shit you'd ever see. It's all just arbitrary, stupid, nonsensical walls we put up that aren't even real,
For sure. I feel like judging ourselves on feeling hacky is one of the main things that personally holds you back from making it.
Totally.
Because you're like, oh, I've heard other people do this kind of joke when your joke's nothing like theirs, so you stop it. I don't want to like dress like that. I don't want to. You just judge yourself when no one else is judging you.
Totally. No one else is thinking about this at all. I really struggle with that still. Like I really struggle with self-sabotage and holding myself back at times of like, even if I'm on stage and having like a really good set and something spontaneous happens that just like murders, I kind of have this sense of I'm like, you don't deserve to be doing that well, so just shut it down. And I'll like really hold back, or I'll say something that I know is going to kill the vibe of it. And I know that, and I'll do it. It's very strange, but I think that kind of ties into what you're saying.
Yeah, this is the year where like Matt and I have talked about this a lot, because like he gets in his head about his dirty jokes and he thinks it's hacky. And he's like, I just had too many dirty jokes from people like being like, I can't book you on my show because your shit's too dirty, when his shit's not. Yeah. And I'm like, who the fuck cares? Double down if that's what you like talking about. But if you're in your head because you don't like talking about it, then there's a problem.
100%. Yeah, if it's like you're just saying something because I think this is what people are going to want to hear and it's not actually you, then I don't know. I mean, do whatever you want to do in stand-up or whatever thing you're doing. But it kind of seems across the board, people will say like when you're actually doing what you want to do or what you find interesting, that's where you get the fulfillment from. And like, I don't know, I just kind of wish every industry was a little bit more about that and not just capitalism and the bottom line and money, numbers. Like, I get it, but Jesus Christ, what the fuck are we doing? Like, we are botching the human experience so badly. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I love, first of all of my favorite specials, and I don't do music. I mean, played the oboe in middle school. What's
Let's
up?
go.
But besides that, I'm not a musician at all. I am obsessed with not musical comedy, but comics who do music.
Yeah.
So my favorite number one special is, well, both of them, has always been Zach Galifianakis live at the Purple Onion.
Yeah.
That's one of the first specials I ever watched.
Yeah.
My heart feels these specials so much more when music's involved.
Yeah, it's not just one note, which I like.
Yeah.
With comedy, it generally is, even if it's like a thought-provoking or kind of like more like a somber tone to the joke or whatever, it is ultimately, it's just like ha 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 is the reaction.
Yeah.
Whereas like for me, and I'd imagine a lot of people, like music, even if it's comedy and the ultimate goal is the ha ha ha, there's just more going on. It can be like, oh wow, that actually sounds really nice. Like what a nice melody, and just the instruments and the way the instruments are being played and the tone of the instruments. It just evokes different emotions and reactions out of you. And I love music's my favorite thing in the world. Like I love doing stand up, and I'm not all of a sudden saying like, so I'm a singer songwriter now. It's not what I'm doing, but I agree. The stuff I like is, it's more, I like if there's just really good jokes and really good stand up in it, but I really like when people can mix it up and show off some other skill sets, and not because I'm like, whoa, they're so skilled, that's so cool, but more just I just think it's interesting. I'm like, what's going on in their head and their brain that they came up with this stuff in this certain way. I really like it.
I love it. So yeah, so the ones I all like are not, it's not like playing music, like these are good examples of people who are great at this, but isn't what I'm talking about. Like Morgan Jay and Luke Knoll both play the guitar while telling jokes. But the specials that I'm obsessed with, it's their comedy and then the music. So there's the Zach Galifianakis, even though he's like doing the jokes. And then Sarah Silverman always does it, like in the beginning and end of her special, she'll do a song.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Oh, on like all of them almost. And they're so funny, and it's just a fun way.
That's awesome.
It's kind of like how you feel when a good song plays when the credits are playing at the end of the movie and you don't want to leave the theater.
Totally.
You're like, what is this song?
Totally.
And you're like, oh, I'm going to skip the fuck out of here. I love it.
Yeah.
And then have you ever heard of Whitmer Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's great.
My God.
He's
His
great.
special, the Golden Boy.
That HBO one.
Is
I
it?
didn't actually see it, but I've seen him live, and it's really great.
I wish I've seen him live. I'm obsessed with him.
He's great.
That special, it's the Golden. Why am I blanking?
I know what you mean. It's like when he's sitting there cross-legged with his
Yeah.
head. Yeah. No, he's so talented.
So that special is jokes, and then songs with like jokes that are like in back to the jokes. So it is like split up, even though the songs are funny.
Yeah.
But I've seen that special a million. I didn't even know who he was. I've never seen him in LA.
Yeah.
I found the special right when it came out because the billboards were everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
And
that was like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's great. I love that stuff too. I have ideas in my head. It's a matter of actually doing it, because then it involves collaboration, and such a nice thing of stand-up is it's just on you. But I have an idea of like, I like being able to do stuff mainly with guitar, maybe with a little bit of piano, where it's just me doing comedy songs, but songs that I think are like well written and sound nice, and then having some stuff with a backing band, so it's like a 4-piece band playing the songs, and it all still ultimately being like, it's comedy, it's funny, and then also like I don't feel self-conscious about it anymore. I used to feel so self-conscious, but like I write a like, my favorite thing to do honestly is just like writing and recording music. It's just so therapeutic to me, and there's never been like a motive of anything other than like, this is the best, most pure creative outlet I get the most satisfaction out of. But I've written some stuff where I'm like, I'm actually really proud of this, and I think I want to like collaborate with like other comics who are also musical to just like make songs together, and they can be funny. They don't have to be funny. No, music's the best, and I definitely want to incorporate a lot more of that into what I do with stand-up.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Well, that's like Chappelle Lacey and Joel Menendez. They all made it's a whole band of comics.
Mad Peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a show. They're great.
They are. They're so good.
Yeah.
But like, they're like, he's like, I don't they don't connect the two, but it's like the
Yeah.
best, like what you said, the best outlet. It's
Totally.
so important as a comedian
Yeah.
to also have something else.
Totally. I always send Chappelle songs when I record
Really?
them. Oh yeah, I text him, I'm like, can I send you a song? And he's like, totally, bro. And
Yeah.
then send it over. And yeah, he's one of the guys. And there's a group of comics, Andy Peters, Danny Flores, and Willie Simon, that when I lived in LA and we did while I've been in town, we get together and just jam and play covers of songs. And yeah, it's the best. It's a much needed escape for me from stand up.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I wish I could play an instrument.
Yeah, you can always learn.
I learned piano when I was in elementary school, but then the teacher touched my leg. So.
Oh no, Jesus.
So now I don't know how to play piano.
Ugh.
I know.
That's terrible.
Just the leg.
Still.
Enough to say, Mom,
Yeah.
get a
What
murder
the
here."
fuck? That's
I would have been
terrible.
great at the piano.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Wasn't my path.
Fuck that teacher.
I know.
That sucks. What a dipshit.
Well, what are you gonna do?
You can still learn. You can pick up a guitar and figure it out. It's not that hard.
Guitar is
It's
pretty hard.
Yeah, but if you put in the time, it's not that hard.
I got a ukulele. I was like, we'll
Yeah,
start with
that's a great
that'd
one.
be fun.
Play the ukulele. There's so many tutorials on YouTube and stuff. You can do it.
It's hard.
It
But
is.
I feel like that would fill the void enough. Mm-hmm. I also brought my oboe back home.
Yeah, do some oboe crowd work on stage.
And I forgot how to read music.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
it's a bummer.
How did I forget?
I could read music when I was a kid because I took some violin lessons, but I can't read music anymore.
Really?
No, I have no idea. I just taught myself, but I just taught myself how to play all the instruments I play.
Yeah. I think it sounds like a lot of musicians do that.
It's very doable. I think people overestimate how accessible it actually is, and it is hard and it takes a lot of time. Like I've been playing guitar for like 20 years now, and I'm not that great at it, but like there's so much just over the past couple years just by playing it a lot more I've figured out, and things have clicked. And yeah, you just got to do it and figure it out. And in the very least, it's super fun. Like you're watching TV and you're strumming a guitar. It's great. It's the best. Highly recommend.
I gotta do it. I also like how I went. I haven't read music since, and then you said the same thing. Like we're now at an age where when we think back, we go,
Jesus. When I was young and life had promise.
I think it's truly because we don't realize how long it's been until you do have that thought, and because we're still young, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah, not old, but I don't feel young anymore. That's for goddamn sure. People older will be like, you're a baby. Like, I'm really not, though. I am really not a baby.
Far from a baby.
Yeah, just emotionally. But, yeah.
Well, we didn't get into the joke part. I feel like we talked about so much, so I don't cut you off. Was there any new jokes that you wanted to talk about that you made, moments you made into a joke, or one that you didn't make into a joke?
I mean, every experience I have feels embarrassing to me, so I can't make everything a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we talked about this last time. Like, I'm just not a storyteller.
Oh yeah.
And there are things where I'm like, I maybe would like to talk more about storytelling, but it's weird because like it is strange that like on podcasts or just one-on-one conversation, like I am totally always pretty well down to get vulnerable and get open, but on stage I really don't want to, like, at all. And I think a lot of it's view of self stuff where I'm like, why the hell would anyone want to hear about any of this personal stuff? And that's what storytelling feels like to me, of like, this thing happened to me and it was nuts. And I like storytelling, but just when I'm saying, it's like, they don't fucking care. Say something of like, oh, you ever notice that? That's weird. But yeah, no, I mean, there's been a few. I was thinking of, I could probably be a bit of one of the first date I went on when I was a teenager. I just got a bank card and I thought I was so sweet. 'Cause I was just like, every time I go to 7-Eleven, get a Slurpee, I'm like slapping down the bank card and like, put on my card. But I was with this girl who I like really, like the first girl I ever liked, had a crush on. And she did the same to me, apparently. And then I never would have had the guts to ask her on any kind of date or whatever. But finally, we were in high school and we went on again a date, which meant like we walked around the neighborhood and went to the convenience store. But we go in and it didn't even cross my mind, like, pay for what she wants. And I just like went straight to like this. They had these stupid little Scooby-Doo fruit snacks that were so delicious. And this like huge pack of it that was like $1.10 probably less than $1. And I just like bolt over to them, slap it down, put it on my card, and right in front of her it says insufficient funds. It was the worst. It was the worst.
Oh,
so she's got to buy my
no.
Scooby-Doo
She
fruit
bought
snack.
them?
Oh, yeah. She stepped up. And what I was thinking was like, it was just weird because like never having money, it was, and just kind of, so like just being cheap. I was like devastated that happened, but I was also kind of relieved. I was like, nice, didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
So I thought a few times like maybe I could like that could be a small little part of a bit. The other thing, I may have said this on the last one, but this is something I tried it and I didn't like think about it before. I was just on stage and I was like, yeah, tell it. And the set was going really well. And then that could not have got more silence. It was unbelievable how poorly it went.
No.
Oh, it was great. It was hilarious. Because I like honest, and I'm fucked up like this with stand up where I'm like, I enjoy that more than shit going well. Because like when I figure out a bit that's good, I'm like, what? So what am I telling it for? Like, if it works, I don't want like cool. I'm rehearsing the monologue that evokes the reaction I know it evokes. Whereas when I'm like, when something eats shit, I'm like, okay, that's funny because now I got to figure it out. But it's and it goes into like, oh God, as if I'm talking about some like deep shit. But like I like talking about just like hypocrisy and like I think it touches with like white privilege well of when I was a teenager. An old teenager, like 19. But my brother, Sam, and some of our friends we grew up with, like we always filmed these stupid like 80s action movie spoofs. Those are.
Is this the cop one?
Did I say that on the last one?
Yeah.
I can't repeat it then. God
man.
damn it. That's my one good story
No,
in life.
it's a great story.
Well, if you didn't, okay, to reiterate real quickly.
Yeah.
Just what an idiot. Saying it again. But it could well, I guess maybe there's the progress that I have actually said it on stage.
That is progress.
To nothing. But it was essentially we had like these little toy guns and we were filming clearly toy laser guns and we were filming in a ravine in Edmonton and these people walked by and it's like looking back, must have been what happened. They thought they're real guns because when we were leaving, we noticed like the police helicopter was circling above. So like, oh, that's weird. And as we were leaving the ravine, we saw cops coming down. We were like, weird again. And then going back home, we noticed like 5 cop cars and we just kind of like, all right, we don't know what. Sure, it's not a big deal, but something's going on. And I was like, I'll wait outside, give it a few minutes, see if anybody comes. And I just assume it might be like one cop car comes up and like, excuse me, young man. But instead, it was like 2 or 3 cop cars, 2 or 3 SWAT SUVs, like rip up. They all just come barreling out, literally with their handguns and their assault rifles, like, get on the fucking ground, get on the fucking ground. And they're like 10 feet away from us with assault rifles pointed
Terrifying.
out. It was terrifying. But then when it kicked in that we're like, oh, we know we're fine.
Yeah.
And we found it like funny. And that we're on the ground and they're like everyone in the neighborhood's like, oh my God, these deviants. And then we showed them the toy bin that had plastic guns and they were so pissed. They were so embarrassed. And one of the toys we have is a He-Man sword. And it was very finicky. So if you like even came close to this one button, it had a voice that says, I have the power.
I don't think you told me that.
That's the best. So that's where I think there's a bit in of I'm like white privilege, not to be like woke or whatever. But we weren't. The cops had guns pointed at us, and we were like, "Thank God the cops are here! Like nothing bad will happen." And then one of them picks the He-Man toy sword up, and it says, "I have the power." And we're like, that was kind of poetic. So I think that could be made into a bit if I actually like put it in and tied it with bits that are like related. But if I just am like talking about marriage and I'm like, oh, so cops and guns pointed at us, everyone's like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was pretty funny how poorly that went.
That sucks because that's a story I've never forgot about. Like it's a good story.
It's wild. It's wild.
The visuals. So I love a story that you hear. Like first of all, I think like there's such a big difference of someone's storytelling that's just like talking about themselves that we don't care about versus like a crazy thing that you can't stop thinking about. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Like when I watch stand up, if there's something that if it actually happened, that's paramount to me. Because if you just cooked up, if you're just that. You might as well
Psychopath.
just be just that loser at a party who's reciting a story that never happened. Cool. But if it's something that actually happened, I love that kind of thing. But yeah, when it is just like the most mundane thing happened in your life and you thought it was hilarious, it's like, I don't need to hear this. I don't care.
I think with both of those stories, like a through line for them is just experiences that you had that made you who you are.
Yeah.
Because like learning as a kid that if my money doesn't work, that she'll pay and still date me.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, good. So I can.
She won't still date me, but she will pay. She won't still date me.
Was that the last convenience store walk you guys had together?
I was so bad with girls that it's like I think I had the benefit of just being tall, and people were animals, and people seemed to be impressed by that. So I think the fact that I played basketball and I was tall and I could play some music, I think sometimes I'm like, that's the only logical explanation why anyone could ever be attracted to me. So like I would get chances, but I was so anxious, and I just had the worst confidence and the worst anxiety, and like not enough confidence to ever make a move on anyone. So there would be a number of times where like, and it's gross 'cause I'm talking about teenage, like as if I was like, wish I hooked up. It's not what I'm saying.
Get those A cups in my hands.
Jesus. But just the amount of times like through junior high and high school, really till I met my wife, of just it just being like them giving me every opportunity to be like, just show you like me. But me being like, pay for my Scooby-Doo fruit snacks over and over again, and unwillingness to emote or anything. And then it eventually, every time it would just be like, all right, this idiot's hopeless. And they weren't wrong.
How relieved were you when you got married? Was there a relief of like, thank God I'm done dating, I found the one?
I mean, I think now I feel more of a relief because dating just sounds so awful. And if I do joke about this on stage, but I'm not doing bits on you. But like, if I was reintroduced to the wild, it would be awful because I'm already like was bad, but I haven't pursued anyone since I was 19. Such
a long time.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, and I just am like, when I got married though, no, I think it was more just like, yeah, this is just what it is. Like it was strange to go from like being so anxious about relationships because of what I just talked about, but also just being a really immature, lacking confidence guy. And then when we started dating, it was strange that I was like, oh, I guess I'm all in. And so, but yeah, and it's just, I just never really thought of like an alternative. But yeah, very grateful to not be dating and as a grown ass man probably having the same shit happen.
I don't think it would ever get easier. I feel like it would just get worse.
Taking him out for like Happy Meals and getting declined kind of thing. Like, you gotta get this one, babe. Next one's on me.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think dating's always bad. I just think there's at different ages, it's just a different version of bad.
It would be terrible now, like if my wife ever just came to her senses and was like, I'm out. It would be terrible because like I would be so emotionally unavailable, and if anyone played like any games or like tried like shaping you or using you as a project, I'd just be like the second there's a whiff of that, I'd be like, I have zero interest or time in this. I don't care to impress you. Don't want to be with you either. Yeah. So no, it's very, very, very grateful to be with such a lovely person.
Louis C.K. he got so many good jokes after his divorce of like not keeping up with his body, it being like an old car you leave in the shed.
Oh man.
And like what it's like dating now. Did you listen to his Dolby Theater, his newest?
No.
They just added it on Spotify because it was one of the I got it when I watched it like for the $10 online. Just annoying setting the TV up. But now it's on Spotify and you have to listen. He has one of the most, I think, brilliant jokes about dating and younger women.
Oh yeah.
And just how like, I don't want to ruin it, but it's just such a good point of view how people like call out the men for dating younger women. And his is like, why are you mad at us for dating an attractive person? Like, she's the perv. She wants to fuck this.
That's funny.
Oh, that's funny. So good.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about him being a weirdo, but like stand-up wise, he's pretty incredible.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, he's the best. Yeah. A weirdo.
Well, weirdo. He's done some things.
But he's a heck of a stand-up. Yeah.
Well, is there anything you would like to plug before we go?
I am doing a podcast. It's a monthly podcast I do with the 604 Podcast Network. They're based in Vancouver. It's called the Intrusive Thoughtcast.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's just like I guess it's like talking with comics, and it's going to be more than just comics, like musicians, people outside of the arts or whatever. But, it's supposed to just be about something that is truly very, very important to me is mental health advocacy, somebody who struggled with it my whole life and seeing what happened with my brother. And I know advocacy has improved, but it's still just honestly not very good. And people don't fully understand how real mental health is. So in my own little insignificant way, I just want to use it as talking about not being vulnerable on stage, but being vulnerable and open about this stuff, but also laughing at it, like taking the piss out of it a little bit, because going through that stuff is really, really hard. And sometimes the best thing you can do is kind of just laugh at the absurdity of it all. But I'm doing that monthly. It's called the Intrusive Thoughtcast. I'd say that's about it. I mean, I don't want to. Every day feels like you're just promoting yourself all the time, so I don't want to do it too much. But if you want to give that a listen or subscribe or whatever, that would be all right. That'd be cool.
We can. You guys can do that.
Yeah.
And then all the links that he doesn't want to mention will be below. So follow him. I'll tell you to do that.
Do it.
So he doesn't have to do that.
I need this.
Yeah, we do need it.
I need this. God damn it.
Oh well, thank you, Henry.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching. Bye.